Hillary Clinton, until recently, I think it was thanks to Judicial Watch we got the detail, had a security clearance. Yeah, a security clearance. This person who had ignored warnings from her security staff, knowingly, mishandled classified information, put it on the internet equivalent of a public park bench, lied about having classified information on her system. She said she never sent or received it. In fact, she did. Deleted classified documents improperly or attempted to delete them. Had a security clearance up until August of this year. And Judicial Watch, in the aftermath, you recall in August, President Trump took steps to remove the security clearances of specifically John Brennan, as I recall, the out-of-control CIA director under Barack Obama, who was sending out weirdly threatening tweets to President Trump and had no business having a security clearance. He'd been out of government for 18 months. You see, they have this corrupt insider Washington program for former government officials who are senior. They're giving courtesy national security clearances. Courtesy national security clearances. They don't need them. And the fact they're giving the security clearances are not because of the national security needs of the United States. Arguably, the national security is threatened by giving security clearances for silly reasons. But the security clearances help bolster the resumes of former officials as they market themselves in the private market. Oh, look, we've got this former top senior official for an administration in our lobbying firm. Oh, and he's connected. Why? Because he still has a security clearance. So they don't need them. National security is harmed by having them, but they still get them. And so the president, frankly, should stop that whole process, agencies from the agencies that allow former officials to have national security clearances, if they're senior enough. If you're a regular guy or gal who leaves government employment, they cut your security clearance off. But not if you're John Brennan, and not if you're Hillary Clinton, who's criminally investigated for violating the classified information laws, and she gets to keep her national security clearance. And not only that, she was able to get some of her friends national security clearances as well, quote, under the guise of being researchers. So this is what happened. After the Brennan news broke with President Trump, we said, well, what about Hillary Clinton? Does she still have a national security clearance? And the State Department at the time refused to tell the media one way or another whether it did. So what we did was we filed a request on August 21st for her national security clearance information. 9 days later, she administratively withdrew it. This is according to records produced to Chuck Grassley at the Senate just recently. Now, supposedly, Clinton's people are saying, well, she withdrew her national security clearance because she objected to the way Brennan had been treated. I don't believe that for 1 minute. I think it's no coincidence that she withdrew it after we asked questions about it. I think it's no coincidence she withdrew it after Brennan's was withdrew, in the sense that she recognized that she didn't want to be known to have a security clearance given all of her misconduct as it related to classified information. And she knew also that she was being investigated by the State Department over these violations. That's all in the letter that was sent to Chuck Grassley. It looks like, I think it was September 21st, but it was only released recently. The letter says that security clearances were administratively withdrawn for Clinton aide Cheryl Mills and 4 other redacted names who had been granted access to classified information through a request made by Secretary Clinton designating them as researchers. Isn't that outrageous? The letter also suggests that Mrs. Clinton and her aides may have been cited for valid security incidents. Oh, isn't that interesting? Valid security incidents. The October 12th news release from the Senate Judiciary Committee said that the news of Clinton's national security clearance was part of an update from the State Department on its ongoing review of its mishandling of classified information related to the use of Clinton's non-governmental email server. Department authorities are continuing to review tens of thousands of documents for classified content. So we're getting these classified documents, obviously redacted. But there's the news. There's an ongoing review by the State Department over this mishandling issue. Did you read about that in the newspaper anywhere? My guess is no. My guess is this Judicial Watch report is the first time you're hearing that the State Department is not only reviewing the mishandling classified information by Hillary Clinton and others, but that there's a they're tracking it. And I got the letter here. Hold on a second. So this is the letter that Chuck Grassley is referencing. So they're reviewing these documents, and this is the key part. So they identify them as so they get these Clinton emails, and they see if they're classified, and then they're sent to the Diplomatic Security Service according to the letter. All identified and valid security incidents contained in these documents have been forwarded to the Bureau of Diplomatic Security's Office of Personnel Security and Suitability. That's the nice way of saying they're security guys at the State Department. To be placed in the official security file of individuals identified in that review as having valid security incidents. So all valid security incidents are reviewed by DS, Diplomatic Security, and taken into account every time an individual's eligibility for access to classified information is considered. So what the State Department is telling or telegraphing, they don't say this specifically, so I'm kind of interpreting the document. The document strongly suggests that there were valid security incidents by Hillary Clinton and her top people, and it's been placed in their file. And in theory, when they ask for security clearances again, that file will be reviewed, and hopefully, who knows, I doubt it will be reviewed in a serious way, and security clearances would be, and for anyone else, denied. So there are a few scandals here. One, that Hillary Clinton had a security clearance for 2 years, almost 3 years after it was uncovered she was breaking every rule on the book related to the handling classified information. Recall, it was first uncovered in 2014 that she was breaking the rules, at least officially. So now it's 2018, and it was only recently that she had her security clearance removed. Who in the State Department is responsible for that decision making? Who in the Justice Department is responsible? Who in the Office of Director of National Intelligence is responsible? Senator Coates, Jeff Sessions, Rex Tillerson? Secretary Pompeo, at least, is the current Secretary of State. I hope that Secretary Pompeo looks at Judicial Watch's lawsuit, which is about this whole mess, because we have a FOIA lawsuit. I didn't tell you that. We have a FOIA lawsuit about this. And he gives us documents about how the security clearance issue was handled about Hillary Clinton and Cheryl Mills and her other top aides. So, I've been telling you that Judicial Watch is doing all the work on Hillary Clinton's email scandal, but it's also even on the basic national security violations that are still at issue. Congress isn't doing this. The administration is only telling us about it because of pressure from Judicial Watch. And they send a letter to Grassley. The letter was generated by Judicial Watch's snooping around and asking questions about it. Guarantee you that. So Hillary Clinton supposedly withdrew her security clearance, which raises questions why she had it in the first place. That's what we're in court about.